Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here. It's time for my weekly comic book review. These comics came out January 30th, 2013, and starting off is the only Image comic I get ongoing, and I'm really glad that it reached this number of issues. It's Invincible number 100. This was an amazing issue. I mean, last week, some other comic reviewers had advanced reviews of it, and I didn't really want to. And I basically just maybe read the first few lines of them. I didn't get too much into them to avoid any kind of spoilers, but I only saw the number ratings, and all of them had pretty good numbers. And when I actually read it, I enjoyed it. Okay, pretty much, Invincible is one of the best superhero comics around. And the fact that it's reached 100 issues is a real milestone. I would definitely recommend this to people, especially those who've been reading Invincible. It will not disappoint. If you're like me and you've been reading Invincible since issue 1, and when I say issue 1, I mean you've actually gone back, read the whole thing from issue 1 to now, you will not be disappointed. You are going to enjoy this. And although I don't really want to give too much away about the plot, but it does seem like towards the end things get a little back to normal, but then one character says something that really changes the game, and I cannot wait to see what happens next month, and definitely what's going to happen now in the Invincible universe. I mean, I would say this is definitely my comic book choice of the week. Right here is Invincible 100. It's amazing. If you haven't been reading Invincible, you should definitely check it out. Okay. Now for Marvel. Starting it off is a series I don't get on. I got the first issue, but I didn't want to get the series ongoing, so I decided to trade waited. But this issue I really wanted to get, so it's Hawkeye number 7. Pretty much, this is the Hurricane Sandy issue. It basically tells, since Hawkeye is kind of a more street level book, it's taking Clint Barton out of the usual big cosmic threats of the Avengers and putting him dealing with street crime in New York City. Pretty much we get an idea about what Clint Barton and also his young protege Kate Bishop were doing during the events of Hurricane Sandy, and it's a very good issue. I would really recommend it if you've been enjoying Hawkeye. The reason I got this particular issue is because Matt Fraction said he was going to donate his royalties made from this issue to the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund, and I just thought that was a cool thing he was doing, so I decided to get the comic and help out in a small way. But yeah, Hawkeye number 7. If you've been enjoying this series, then I would highly recommend it. It's really great, and again, I'm not getting it on. I'm not gonna get. I don't think I'm gonna get it ongoing in the next future, but I am gonna get the first trade collection when it comes out in March. I can't wait for that. All right, moving along. Avengers number 4. This is right after the first story arc. Pretty much, this is just a sort of origin issue for the new Hyperion that's joined the team. But the basic framing device is that it takes immediately after the first story arc. The Avengers are patrolling the globe, trying to secure all the sites that Ex-Nihilus infected with when he tried to evolve the planet. And basically the Avengers discover a 6th site that was also discovered by AIM. And the Avengers are able to stop AIM, but AIM apparently discovered another site, a 7th site, and now they have control of it. But the main focus of the issue is on Hyperion and where he came from. Basically, he was just from another universe. Eventually, his universe collapsed, and he was pulled out of it just before it was destroyed by AIM, and AIM kept him as their prisoner until the Avengers busted in and freed him, and he joined the team. I think right now Hickman's taking it slow. Right just after the first story arc, I think he's starting to take things slow a little bit, because next issue we're going to get the origin of the new Smasher. So again, Hickman is now going to take his foot off the pedal for a while, and I think right now just kind of fill in a few plot holes we had about the new members of the team and kind of explain who they are and how they wound up being with the Avengers, which I think is a good idea since, because that was one of the questions on my mind when I saw the new rosters, like, wait, who are these other people that I didn't recognize? So it's a good thing that Hickman is going back and trying to tell people about it. Basically, if you are curious, if you read the first story arc and liked it, and you are a little curious about the new members, then I would say pick up the next few issues of Avengers. If you're not really curious and you don't want to read, I guess you would consider this filler, then you can probably skip it and just be fine. Alright, moving right along. Another Marvel comic I really looked forward to. Superior Spider-Man #2. Basically, the entire issue is just Otto Octavius trying to court Mary Jane Watson. And I use the term court very loosely. And all while he's doing this, Peter Parker, who is apparently still who's just basically a subconscious in his own body now, is pretty much just watching the whole thing. And it's really, really funny to see Peter's reactions to everything Otto does. And it's funny because at the start of the issue, Otto's like trying to get with Mary Jane. Oh man, that's still weird to say. And he's like, why did Peter Parker ever let her go? But then eventually, like by the end of the issue, Otto finally figures out that the reason Peter was able to let her go is because he loved her and he realized that it was dangerous for her to be involved with him as Spider-Man. So that's why he broke up. And he pretty much tells Mary Jane that the best thing that they both need to do is just move on, because their relationship is just like one big trap. And Peter, when he sees this, he's like, wow, guess Otto had the courage to do something I never had to. And afterwards on the last page, Mary Jane's kind of telling everything to Carly, and then Carly Cooper starts to be a little suspicious about everything, including what Dr. Octopus said to her during the Dying Wish story arc, which, as we all know, was Peter Parker in Doc Ock's body. And he told her that he was Spider-Man. Now she's starting to really take that seriously, and the suspicions are now forming in her head. Superior Spider-Man issue 2. This is, believe it or not, even though saying Spider-Ock is trying to seduce Mary Jane Watson, it's a little creepy, but it's very funny to read this and see Peter's reactions, and also see at one point when Otto doesn't get what he wants, Peter's just like, rejected. Really, I'd say get this issue just because of the hilarity behind it. I would definitely say this is a very funny issue. Really, it is. Trust me when you read it. Trust me. Go out, get it, read it. You'll understand why I'm still sort of laughing after talking about this. Okay, time for something less funny. DC Comics. And starting off with The Flash, #16. Good thing about this issue that I liked was we got a flashback revealing why Barry and Iris they kind of started out dating, but then Barry kind of ended it, because what happened was Iris invited Barry to lunch, and it did seem like they were going to it could have started a new relationship between them, but Barry discovered that Iris really wanted to see Barry to talk about his brother's case and see if there's anything he could do to try to, get her off. And Barry felt betrayed that was the only real reason she ever asked him out. But she tries to say that wasn't really the entire reason. But Barry doesn't believe her and just leaves because he feels like he can't trust her. Back in the present, Flash gets a little. When Barry Allen's about to turn himself into Gorilla Grodd, he gets a little pep talk from his girlfriend Patty Spivot, and encourages him to just fight Grodd, and he can't just give up like that because that's not who he is. So Barry goes and finds Grodd, and right when Barry finds him, he just sucks Barry himself and Grodd into the Speed Force. And right when they're about to throw down, suddenly a tank crashes between them, and Iris comes crawling out of it. Because remember, Iris was trapped in the Speed Force from way back, like I think issue 7. Flash number 16. Well, normally I haven't really been that well impressed with Flash, but I'm glad with this issue it gave us some answers as to why Barry Allen and Iris West aren't dating. Okay, because that was something I was curious about in the new... Because that was something I really didn't like in the new 52, that they got rid of Barry and Iris's marriage, and also that they never dated. And I thought that was just really lame. But at least now they've given a new perspective to what their relationship was, and also why Barry didn't really want to do it in the first place. But in the end, though, I still hope that after all this, maybe eventually Barry and Iris do get together. Like, probably way long ways down the road. I want Barry and Iris to get together. So here's something to this. But Flash number 16, pretty much, if you don't have any, pretty much the only interest you should get this book is just for a little bit revealed about what happened between Barry and Iris before all this. Okay, next up, Superman number 16. Basically, Superman and Superboy are finally able to get to Hell in the fortress, but Hell finishes his device, but Hell apparently has the ability, is able to use his teleporting powers to somehow move the entire Fortress of Solitude, minus the Justice League and Superboy, and once he moves the fortress, he's able to activate his device, and which will apparently allow him to travel back in time and save Krypton. And also, meanwhile, in space, once Hell activates his device, this entity known as the Oracle has awakened. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's what happens in this. Hell just activates the device, and apparently the Oracle has awakened. Just, honestly, to me, this wasn't that good. It really wasn't. It was just, the Oracle appearing felt like watching Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull and then seeing the aliens and the flying saucer. That's what the Oracle felt to me. That was just the moment where I completely disliked that movie, and it's not true for this story arc. I don't completely dislike it. There were a few moments I've liked so far, but I really hope, but right now I just think it's taken a really bad turn with just involving this thing called the Oracle. Like it just felt like a random element they just threw into as just kind of a Deus Ex Machina. We've only got like maybe 1 month left of Hell on Earth, and I just hope that this issue in particular, it felt like a bad turn, and what I really hope is that this story arc does succeed in the end, and it's good in the end, but right now I'm just not feeling that way. Alright, Teen Titans, number 16. Red Hood and Red Robin wake up where the Joker has them, and what Joker's done now is he's made kind of this death trap where apparently he has both Jason's dad and Tim's dad, and says that they have to choose to kill one of them, or Joker will kill them both. And of course Tim, who's really more of a thinker, is like, okay, obviously there's no way that can be Jason's dad because he's dead, but Jason's more of a guy who takes action. And, well, pretty much he thinks, and pretty much Tim and Jason, that leads to Tim and Jason fighting over what they should do, but then eventually during the fight, Tim is able to convince Jason to pretty much shoot the booth where the Joker's watching them, and Tim tells Jason that he knew that wasn't his dad because he's been keeping, ever since he and his parents split up, he's been keeping an eye on them. And when Tim and Jason go to check out the Joker's body, it turns out it was just a dummy, and sprays them both with knockout gas and knocks them both out. Final page, we cut to pretty much the same thing that happened in Nightwing. Joker drags both Tim and Jason to this cave where he might be keeping all members of the Bat family, and also last panel we see the Joker holding. We usually see the Joker holding a server platter, but in this case he was holding two at the end of the page. So, yeah. The last page of this was I find it to be a little more intriguing because because from what I've heard and seen in Nightwing, everyone's seen the Joker with just one little serving platter. Now, he has two, so is that supposed to represent the fact that he has two Robins, Jason and Tim? I mean, what exactly does that mean? I mean, really, because there are a number of theories about what people, and I think I know what the most popular one is, and I kind of feel that way, but I don't want to say it, because I kind of don't want to jinx it or anything, but wow. Pretty much, this was a great issue for Death in the Family, because this issue, it actually keeps the focus on Red Robin and Jason, which I like. Pretty much because Teen Titans and Red Hood and the Outlaws kind of crossed over with each other for Death in the Family, I would say you're better off just getting Red Hood and the Outlaws number 15 and getting Teen Titans number 16, just if you want to focus only on Red Robin and Red Hood, not any of the other guys. And by other guys, I mean Teen Titans and the Outlaws. But, I liked it. I liked Tim's interactions with Jason and how they kind of fought for a bit, and ultimately they did work together. And I did like the end where we do see Joker holding two of the server platters. I want to see what happens there. What happens now, because it really does build up a lot for the conclusion in Death in the Family, which will happen in, I think, about 2 weeks from now with Batman number 17. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, now continuing another crossover story arc, Thrones of Atlantis Part 4 in Aquaman number 16. While Cyborg's getting his equipment upgraded, he's also rebuilding a file that was a security video of the person who launched the missiles on Atlantis in the first place and started all of this. Also, while Cyborg's getting repaired and Aquaman and the other Leaguers are in the ocean, the Reserve Leaguers are dealing with the Atlantean army in Boston. But back to the main focus of what's going on here. Aquaman saving the rest of the League, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman from the trench. And also, while they're down there, Arthur and Batman discover some cave drawings that reveal more about the item from the others, the King's Scepter, that says that it not only can sink land masses, but it can also control the trench. And when the trench start to attack the League, Cyborg and Mera boom tube to the bottom of the ocean. They arrive to help defeat the trench and get the other Leaguers out of there. But however, some of the trench have actually reached the surface and they're attacking the Atlantean army. So that pretty much rules out the theory that Orm is using the scepter. And it's something that Cyborg points out to Arthur when Arthur thinks Orm has the scepter. He says, wait, if Orm has the scepter, why is he in Boston planting bombs? So then, and right when Cyborg points this out, this file that he was trying to rebuild is finished, and it reveals that, okay, you're going to want to fast forward through this because, spoiler alert, I'm about to reveal who started all of this. 3, 2, 1. It was Volko. That's right, the guy who's been helping Arthur actually was the one behind everything. He had the scepter, he attacked Atlantis, all for this whole event, just so that he can get revenge on Atlantis. Alright, I'd say for Thrones of Atlantis right now, this is a really amazing story arc. I mean, if you've been an Aquaman fan since the start of the New 52, you are really going to like this, because Volko, ever since his first appearance in the New 52, he's been kind of like, almost like Arthur's version of Alfred, except he's not a butler. And he's kind of helped Arthur find Atlantis back in Aquaman number 0. Now, apparently when Volko left, 5 years ago when Arthur left Atlantis to go, stay on the surface world, apparently Atlantis exiled Volko or turned against him, and now Volko wants revenge. So there's some great motivation there. I'd say if you've been reading Aquaman since the start and you've been reading Thrones of Atlantis too, you should get this, because Thrones of Atlantis so far, it's turning into an awesome story arc. Really am liking it. It's definitely really made me see Aquaman in a new light now. I really like the hero because of, what Jeff Johns is doing on this title. So, very nice payoff there. All right, now for another comic that I wasn't thinking. I only got when I discovered that the Rise of the Third Army story arc was going to be concluded in it. I wasn't going to get it, but I finally decided to get it just because I heard this was going to be the conclusion. Green Lantern Corps Annual #1. Finally, the Guardians get what's coming to them, okay? Even though Guy Gardner's lost his ring, after pretty much from the last Green Lantern Corps issue, when he's saved by Simon Baz and Bidig, Bidig builds Guy a construct that will take him to Oa, and once Guy gets there, he's able to find Kilowog and some other lanterns, and also, I want to point out that Bidig, and the only role that Bidig and Simon Baz have in this issue is they enter the Book of Black to find out what happened to Hal Jordan and Sinestro, and the Book of Black just basically takes them to Black Hand and the Chamber of Shadows. Okay, and also, good news, another good thing in this issue, Mogo's back! Mogo has completely reformed itself, and now Jon Stewart knows about the Third Army, and he is getting ready to head to Oa too. And also, when Guy finds Kilowog and the other lanterns, he's able to help, lead them into battle, and free the other lanterns that were currently in stasis because the Guardians were putting out a message saying, "We're under attack from this new species, the Third Army. All lanterns need to report to Oa for immediate cure so they won't be turned into one of them." But it was all a trap so the Guardians could keep their lanterns stalled. But Guy and other lanterns were able to free them, and everyone just goes crazy on the Guardians. Then Kyle Rayner, who's now the new White Lantern, has shown up with the new Guardians. He's able to get Guy Gardner his power ring back, and now everyone just attacks the Guardians. That's what happens in this issue. The Guardians finally get what's coming to them. And even Atrocitus sent the Manhunters to kill them. That was really nice too. Man, I was really hoping just to summarize this as just the Guardians get their comeuppance, but man, I wanted to go into details because it's so awesome to finally see those little gnomes get paid back. And ultimately though, but it's not complete payback, okay? Because right when the Guardians realize they're losing, they try to tap into more power from the First Lantern, but unfortunately, the First Lantern, Volthoom, breaks free, and that's where the issue ends. All I can say is I'm finally happy that all the Green Lanterns are just finally attacking the Guardians. That is great. That's the main reason you should get this book, because if you've been reading any of the Green Lantern books since, maybe the War of the Green Lanterns, you're starting to realize, man, the Guardians have become just these little D-bags now. Sorry everyone, pardon my language, but everyone's just really started hating on the Guardians, and they're like, man, when's someone going to take care of them? Well, rest assured, all of my friends, your prayers are answered in this. Everyone finally realizes what's going on, and they attack the little blue gnomes. Man, so yeah, if you've been really hoping that the Guardians finally get what they deserve, this book is definitely for you. I mean, if you can afford it, because it's about $4.99, and that might be a little expensive, but if you can afford it, I'd say get it. Okay, so that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me right now. That's it. Quick little recap. Green Lantern Corps Annual #1. The Guardians finally get what they deserve. If you've been wanting that, pick this up. Aquaman #16. The true culprit behind the attack on Atlantis is revealed. This story continues to be very awesome, both as, I'd say, an Aquaman story and maybe more like 51% Aquaman, 49% Justice League. Teen Titans #16. Definitely a better conclusion to the whole Death in the Family tie-ins. This and issue 15 of Red Hood are really the true tie-ins to Death in the Family, not the other ones. Superman number 16. Pretty much a weak part to the Hell on Earth crossover. Only get it for Hell on Earth, but really this issue just makes the story arc take a really bad turn. Flash number 16. Flash takes Grodd to the Speed Force to fight, but they are interrupted by Iris West, and a little more is revealed about Barry and Iris' relationship. Really hope they get together someday. Superior Spider-Man number 2. Watch as Doc Ock tries to seduce Mary Jane Watson and fails. Very funny. I would definitely recommend picking it up. Avengers number 4. Hyperion's origins revealed. Get it if you're curious about him. Hawkeye number 7. The Hurricane Sandy issue about Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. I'd say pick it up because again, Matt Fraction is going to donate his royalties to charity. So that, and it's also a very well written issue. Invincible number 100, comic of the week. Really enjoyed this. Definitely one of the best superhero titles out there. If you've been reading this book, you should owe it to yourself to pick up 100 because it is amazing. Alright, that's it for my comic review for this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.